Hello, I'm Jakka-B and welcome back to my tutorial series. So for this short and snappy tutorial, I'm going to show you guys how you can make a super spicy snare roll. So what I'm not going to show you is how to make a snare roll that sounds like this. Because that's so simple, everyone knows how to do that. And if you don't, there you go, that's how you can make that one. So what I want to show you is something slightly more in depth using a clap, a short snare, a heavy snare, and a pokey snare. So first of all, and by the way, so using 4 different sounds and 4 different tones doing slightly different patterns, you get a much more energetic style build-up. So I'm going to concentrate on just an 8-bar build-up for this, and I want to just show you how adding more than kind of 1 snare or 2 snares can just kind of inject some energy into your build-ups. So let's start with the clap. The clap's the most simple because it literally hits on where every single kick would be, so on the beat essentially, like so. And then the larger, what I call the heavy snare, is going to also do a kind of similar style pattern. However, we're going to just kind of double it up every so often so it's slightly more interesting. So turn that clap down and just... Okay, so although it's not too dissimilar to the one I showed you at the start, there's a little bit more to it, and the extra snare hits kind of just give it a slightly more energetic feel. They make it sound more exciting. And then I'm going to play that with the clap. I'm now going to throw in the short snare, which I'm going to put on the off, just as something a little bit different. So that is going to sound like this. So the snare hit here is going to be slightly quicker than the one playing below, although on a more basic rhythm. So already you can hear with the clap, the short snare and the heavy snare, that pattern is slightly more interesting, exciting than just a single snare hit that gets quicker and quicker over the across the 7 bars. So the final one is the pokey snare, which sounds like this. Okay, so this pattern is going to be much quicker than the others. So this one gives a kind of constant build feel that wasn't there previously. But also what I'm going to do to it as well is just bring the volume up over time. So it'll start very quietly. The volume of it will kind of rise. Something else I think is really important as well. I kind of like, it's more of a personal thing, I guess. But I really like the way that snare rolls kind of like pitch up at the end. So I'm not going to do that on the clap, and I'm not going to do that on the pokey snare. But for the short snare and the heavy snare, I'm going to pitch them up at the end. So to do that in Ableton, I'm just going to consolidate them so that they become one audio clip. Go down here to envelopes, clip, and transposition. There are different ways of doing this in different DAWs. You don't always necessarily have to consolidate the audio to be able to do this. However, I just find it's the quickest way to be able to do it in Ableton. So now this last one sounds like this. But I'm not a massive fan of how it kind of loses the transients. So here under audio, you can adjust it by going onto beats, and you can change it to 1/32, 1/16. That one has a much more consistent transient. So I'm going to do exactly the same here as well. And then you could put like a fill sound in, kind of like this. And here's one I made earlier. So yeah, they then add like a little fill in there. So now I'm going to very quickly add some processing to these. Just to gel them together, I'd like to add a multi-band compressor, just to give them a little bit of extra transient. So it's only very subtle, but using a multi-band compressor, I can obviously, as opposed to a standard compressor, I can obviously control the low, the mid, and the high separately, which is kind of what I'd want to do for a snare, really. That's how I'd usually go about doing this. So it's just allowed me to add a little more high end and then a little more mid, so it's got slightly more energy in those frequencies. So this is what it sounded like before. Just slightly more in your face, and then on top of that I may add a very, very light kind of plate reverb. And then an EQ as well. So quite often on certain things like leads, I'd maybe put the plate reverb before the compressor. However, I don't really want to I don't want to compress the reverb in this instance. So I just want a very, very slight reverb just to kind of gel the drums together, a little bit like the dynamic compressor. So it just kind of adds a little something to them. And then at the end, the EQ is really just to kind of take out any low end. So this is it before any processing and after. And one final thing which you can do just at the end is filter out the drums if you feel it's necessary. It's not always the case. So that's it. That is how you make super spicy snare rolls. If you want to check out some more tutorials like this, I've got loads more on my YouTube channel. I also have loads of exclusive tutorials on my Patreon, as well as being able to offer you feedback on your music, one-on-one sessions, and monthly sample and MIDI packs. I've dropped the link for that in the description below, so go check that out. Thank you very much for tuning in again. Don't forget to subscribe, yada, 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 you know the score, and go tell your friends and stuff like that. But yeah, thank you. I'll be back with another tutorial very soon. Cheers.